Dave Allen versus Jason Gavern. Not a good fight to watch, I'm afraid. The fight ended at the end of the 4th round where Jason Gavern's corner pulled their man out, citing that Gavern had some sort of head injury from all the blows he was taking around the back of the head from Dave Allen. The fight was a very sort of clumsy, messy affair. Not a lot of clean work landed. And it's a fight where, whilst Jason Gavern didn't make a good job of making himself look good, he did make a good job of making Dave Allen look bad. We know what Jason Gavern's all about. He's a kind of awkward guy, comes in fair defensively, I guess, quite slippery defensively and awkward defensively. I know Anthony Joshua had some problems with him when they fought, and yeah, Gavern was getting very, very low in this fight, bending at the waist and making himself a moving target and ducking, and he made, to be honest, it wasn't a good performance from Dave Allen this, despite the stoppage win. Dave Allen for me really, and it's hard on Dave Allen because he's a young guy, he's 24 years old, he was training for Richard Towers, who is probably the complete opposite in heavyweight styles. Richard Towers is a much bigger guy who uses a jab, so he was training for that, and he got given Jason Gavern at late notice. But what happened here was the fight was fought at very close quarters. The punches that were thrown were very, very wide, and for me what Dave Allen needed to do was to create a bit of space between him and Jason Gavern. When someone's getting low and moving side to side, rather than just throw looping over the top haymakers, for me the way to fight an opponent like that is to stand off him, create that 3 or 4 foot of space and double jab. Dave Allen's jab tonight was not what it should have been. The double jab would have been a really, really effective tool if he'd have used that the way Jason Gavern was fighting, but he didn't. When the referee broke them up, which was a regular occurrence because it was a bit of a hug fest, you'd see Dave Allen just walk straight back in. He would literally walk in and they'd be at close quarters again. And I guess what Dave Allen did with that tactic is completely negate his boxing and allow the fight to descend into a clumsy wrestling match type of event. If he'd have got that jab worked, if he'd have used his boxing a bit more, he'd have probably looked a lot smarter in there. But what we actually saw him doing was fighting at very close quarters in a wrestling match and throwing very wide shots, lots of looping hooks and overhand punches and that sort of thing, which wasn't overly pretty to watch. Gavern caused some issues in there. Gavern, I thought, did well in the first 2 rounds and actually exposed some defensive frailties with Dave Allen. If you watch the first round back, you can see 1 or 2 quite clean punches land from Jason Gavern, which would possibly be a surprise to watch in public. I've got to say, once again, the Sky commentary tonight was very, very biased, I thought, and on this occasion it was biased in Dave Allen's favour because I guess he's nominally the home fighter. But the first round or 2 they were saying Jason Gavern's not really bought anything, and I thought Jason Gavern was having good moments of success against Dave Allen and catching him a few times. They also said in the 4th round Dave Allen was showing very, very good power, which I didn't overly see. And as I said, I don't want to be too critical of Dave Allen. It's a late notice opponent. Gavern is an awkward guy to fight, I suppose. But you would have just fought on Sky TV. Possibly he could have fought a slightly more clinical boxing performance, I guess. I think with if you watch the fight back, there was some bizarre moments of Jason Gavern throwing Dave Allen to the ground and then Dave Allen sort of wrestling Jason Gavern to the ground, and with all of the talking and the wooing and the wrestling, it did resemble more of a WWE matchup. Hopefully it's the kind of thing where a better opponent, a Richard Towers opponent, would actually bring out the best in Dave Allen. I know Eddie Hearn was talking about Dave Allen, David Price. That's possibly a more interesting fight because that style and the range would maybe bring out the best in Dave Allen. But this fight it wasn't vintage, it wasn't eye-catching, it was clumsy, it was not very clean, too much wrestling for my liking, and there wasn't too much boxing class on, so I'm afraid. If I was Dave Allen, I would focus on keeping my range, throwing a jab, working on a double jab. I think that would help him go a long way. As for Jason Gavern, he's certainly a character. I wonder if that's the last time he'll be bought over by Eddie Hearn though. Let me know your thoughts. Many thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this, please hit the thumbs up. Thanks.